All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Good morning to you. It's Randy Byrd, and we're looking forward to an agent attraction call this Thursday. It is 12:30 Puerto Rico time. I'm in Puerto Rico right now. Oh, we've got some rock stars coming in. I love it. I'm very excited about our guest today. Shon and I have been friends for years. I was a secret admirer of his during the KW days. Really loved following him. Had the pleasure of being on his attraction call yesterday with 125 people. He is crushing it. He is very quickly went to the top of this company. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to have that 30-minute segment that we really interview Shon, look at some highlights that we can get. Before we get started, I want to see if there's a couple wins that we get. This is an inner circle, Shon. This is an invite only. We do live dials. So that's always a tricky thing when you're calling agents live. So we don't record that portion of it so that we can have some integrity in the conversations. But they're looking at my database. They're hearing the live conversation with agents. It's proven very valuable. But in the beginning, we used to record these calls, and that was just a little slippery slope. So we stopped recording them. So our format is we do half an hour, 15 minutes to 30 minutes with the speaker, whatever we need, talk about, wins and how you did your business. And then we get into me making live dials. They could listen or they can make their own live dials and we chat it up and have some fun with it. Typically we have somewhere around 20, 25 people on the call weekly. And it's one of my favorite things to do every week now. It literally is the highest level of accountability there is when you're making your dials and having that conversation. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you, Shon. And what I'm going to ask you to do, a lot of people know you from the Keller Williams days, your mom, Diana, and, you were head of MAPS coaching and you've been in the coaching element for, probably since you could walk, knowing how it looks in your family. So do me a favor. I'm asking you, I'm begging you to brag on yourself. This is not the humble time. This is brag on yourself. I'm asking permission to do that. I'm asking that you let people know what your background is, what your pedigree is, so we can understand who Shon Kokoszka is. They may not understand and know you like I do.
Gotcha, Randy. Well, it's my pleasure, of course. Yet, Randy, you and I have so many parallels in our lives. It's just crazy. Like when I jumped into real estate, gang, I was 20 years old. My mother and I decided to start a real estate sales team together. We were in Denver, Colorado. And we joined RE/MAX. It just made sense because RE/MAX is Colorado country, right? I mean, or the other way around. You know what I meant to say.
Yes.
It, founded in Colorado by Dave Liniger, just shot straight out of a cannon, guys. I'm telling you, we were consistently top 100 internationally within RE/MAX. And yet I was actually kicked out of RE/MAX, believe it or not, Randy. I don't know if I ever told you the story.
Did not
Yet
know that.
I was building a large team and really attracting a lot of agents. We had an ISA division. We were crushing it. I'm telling you, we were doing 450 sides a year and just having fun. And yet my broker comes to me and he says, and by the way, he was my friend, one of my best friends. We'd go golf together all the time. We'd go to happy hour and lunch. And I mean, we were just like buds, right? Well, he comes to me and he says, Shon, God, I hate to tell you this, yet I just finished a meeting at corporate and they told me that if you want to build a real estate sales team, you can do that. You just can't do it at RE/MAX. So I see, here's the challenge. Most brokerages, and I know you guys already know this, yet most brokerages are like a pyramid model, RE/MAX being one of them. I mean, nothing against RE/MAX. I loved my time at RE/MAX, yet it's only the people at the top of the pyramid that are getting financially wealthy, and they're doing it off the backs and the hard labor associated with the agents that are associated with the brokerage. See, most agents are being leveraged. Now, thanks to EXP, we can now all apply leverage, right? So I left RE/MAX. I thought, man, I'm going to start my own brokerage. I thought, this is the pinnacle. I'm the top of the top, man. I'm going to crush this thing. And here's what I learned. It's a limited opportunity. See, small brokerages, you're limited based on the geographic territory in which you can attract agents to join your brokerage. And I'll tell you what, there were many months that I supplemented the cost of running the brokerage with my own commission dollars just to keep the doors open. It was not nearly as profitable as I dreamt it to be. I mean, I built the pro formas, the spreadsheets, man, and numbers tell a story. And so nevertheless, did that for 2 years and 10 months. And I'll tell you what, I've got two sons that are 23 and 22 years old. After graduating college, they both decided, well, I'm going to jump into real estate. They got their licenses. Of course, they're with EXP. Now, here's the cool thing. They'll be able to retire by the time they're 27 years old, thanks to this model. Yet if they ever came to me and said, hey, Dad, I want to start my own brokerage, or I want to buy a franchise from one of the big boxers, KW, C21, Remax. If they ever said that to me, and I've already told them this, I would force them to change their last name and I would write them out of my will completely. I'm not kidding. That is a limited opportunity. So I learned about Keller Williams and I thought, man, this is a pretty cool model. I mean, they got profit share, right? Now, I was with Keller Williams for 8 years. Loved my time at Keller Williams. I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even my afternoon snack. I'm telling you, I dove into that organization, built a very large and successful team at Keller Williams, yet again, never received any equity, stock ownership, nothing that would help me and my family ultimately retire from this industry someday. I was stuck on that transactional treadmill. Now, many of you can relate to this. Let's say an agent closed 10 transactions last year. They want to double their production this year. Let's say they do that. They jump from 10 transactions to 20 transactions. Well, what they've done is they've raised their level of income. So what do they do with their lifestyle? Don't they raise that to match? Don't we tend to spend what we make until you get to this position of total abundance? Yet, okay, so they close 20 transactions. They've raised their lifestyle. So the next year, guys, they have no choice. They have to close at least 20 transactions just to maintain the lifestyle. Yet you, like me, you're going to set your sights higher. You want to close 50 transactions. So let's say you do that, then you raised your income and you're going to raise your lifestyle. So the next year, again, you are forced. You don't have a choice. You have to close at least 50 transactions. And this is that transactional treadmill that I'm talking about that's darn near impossible for agents to get off of. This is, Randy, why I feel a moral obligation to share this model with anybody who wants to listen. So by the time I was like 23 years old, okay, so my mother's much smarter than I am, okay? I'll just be honest. When we started our real estate sales team together, she said, Shon, I'm going to work the listing side of the business and deal with all the sellers. And you're going to work the buyer side of the business and work all the buyers. Again, much smarter than I am. So as a buyer's agent, my second year in, I closed over 100 buyer side transactions as like a 22-year-old kid, several $100,000 commission months during that time in my life. And it probably wasn't the best thing to give a 22-year-old kid $100,000 a month because I was not a good steward of money. I loved living life at the highest level possible. I mean, it was private jet trips to Vegas. And I mean, it was all kinds of craziness. Yet we had a lot of fun doing it, no doubt. Now, I was picked up by several speaking companies, training companies like Howard Brinton's seminars. Many of you who have been in the industry for a while remember Howard. He was my mentor. He was my coach. In fact, he gave me my first stage in real estate to present to other agents. And by the way, back then I was terrible, just terrible. And I'm not saying that I've mastered the presentation skills yet. I've gotten a lot better over the years. And there's a quote that I want to share with you. It's my favorite quote. Every master was once a disaster. So you're thinking, man, I suck at recruiting. I can't seem to get these people to say yes and come over to EXP. Just remember, it's time on task over time that makes all the difference. So I was presenting for companies, like National Association of Realtors, iSucceed.com, iReal. I found myself at like 23 years old, traveling about 200 days a year, presenting to agents all over the country. And I presented to well over 1 million agents. Now, at 28, my wife and I, by the way, were married when we were 21. At 28, we had our first child. And I thought, man, Randy, I don't want to be on the road like this 200 days a year presenting anymore. I'm just going to stop doing that. I built a real estate sales team to the point that I didn't need to be there anymore. In fact, I was more of a distraction. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with my time? I mean, seriously, what makes sense? So I hired a coach and they encouraged me to start creating some line extensions. So I started a mortgage company first. I opened a title company second. Then I got into land development and I started selling lots to builders and I would carry some paper for them when necessary. And, I'd see how much money they were actually making. So I decided, well, I'm going to jump into the home building company as well. Gang, it was 6 income streams on one transaction. Like I represented the development company when we acquired the land. So they paid me a commission. That's one, right? Second, we would get the entitlements in place, pulling curb, gutter, water, sewer, electricity. Then I would sell off the lots to my own building company because I wanted to control everything, right? There's another bit of profit there on the lot sale. Then we'd collect a supervision fee when building the home, which exceeded our budget. So there was more money there. And of course, the real estate company would list the property, even if it was pre-sold, they would get a commission. I'd make more money there. Then mortgage company would finance the property. Title company would provide the insurance, and everything we did was in the luxury market. So everything we built was above $1 million. And the cycle started again for the real estate company, the mortgage company, and the title company, because many buyers did not have a realtor, and we would just list their property for sale because, you know, most people had a property to sell. So 6 income streams in one transaction. So I started this in 2000, and man, I'll tell you what, it worked, guys. It worked so well. It was millions of dollars of income every single month. And yet, if you've ever read the book, How the Mighty Fall, one of the reasons that they fall is the undisciplined pursuit of more. And that was me. It was all ego driven, Randy. There was no real purpose. There was no real why behind it other than I want to make as much money as fast as I possibly can. So it worked. It worked until 2008, right? How many of you guys were in business in 2008 in real estate sales in 2008? And you survived. Congratulations, because man, there was blood in the streets. I'll tell you what. I mean, I was in debt to the construction lenders at this point with 16 land developments, over 100 homes under construction. We controlled about 65% market share of any home being built above $1 million in Denver and the surrounding suburbs. And it was ugly, Randy. I mean, seriously. I lost about $32 million in the process. I had 2 partners in my development company that both immediately claimed bankruptcy, left me holding the bag. And man, it was deeds in lieu of foreclosure. It was short sale after short sale after short sale. And dude, it was depressing. I mean, I'm telling you what, I've never felt so alone in my entire life. I've never felt so much like a victim in my entire life. I mean, frankly, I was blaming everybody for my circumstances. I was complaining about everything, and I was justifying every decision that I'd ever made. See, I wouldn't take responsibility for it. Now, until we take responsibility for our own position in life, nothing changes, guys. And it was about 2 years of just absolute torture where, seriously, guys, it was cold, it was dark, it was deep, it was depressing. I was even adding up my life insurance policies, wondering, would my family be okay if I weren't here? I'm not kidding. I was contemplating that. Yet when we're at our lowest of lows, we had the most opportunity for growth. Am I right, Randy?
Absolutely.
So I had a choice. I could either go sideways or I could go up. Now, what really saved me was really analyzing, well, where did I find the most fulfillment in my life? And quite frankly, it was when I was up on that stage, when I was adding value to people. So I made a decision that I was going to close down all of those companies as quickly as I could, get back into real estate sales, build my team back up to ultimately be able to train and teach others how to do that. So I spent a couple of years building that team back up, and then ultimately sold the team, aligned with Gary Keller, to start Keller Williams Maps Coaching. And gang, we grew that to be the largest coaching and training company that real estate has ever seen. See, the purpose, it was the why that drove all of that. Number one, I wanted to keep people out of the desperate financial position that I once found myself in. Number two, I wanted them to live the life that they deserve to live, to drive the cars they want to drive, live in the homes they want to live in, and take the vacations that they deserve to take with their loved ones. So that was the driver behind, Keller Williams Maps Coaching. That's what, kept me working 70 hours a week to make sure that we were the largest coaching and training company that real estate's ever seen. Yet I negotiated with Gary Keller where I'd have vesting rights after 7 years. Now, 1 month before my vesting rights were up in the Keller Williams Maps bonus, Gary Keller figured out how to get rid of me so that he didn't have to pay that for the rest of my life. And that was a little bit heartbreaking. Yet you can see this right here, right? It's a little bit of a chip right there on my shoulder. And that's why I want EXP to just, and the good news is that EXP has breached the moat that Gary Keller has built around the KW Castle in a powerful way. And I don't know, there's a little bit of a revenge factor there, yet just having fun, man, having fun changing people's lives. It's a blast. So I know that was a long-winded answer, yet.
No. I love the background for people. And especially when they look at you, it's hard to understand that you're human. You put the pants on like we do. You went through a lot in your life to get where you are today, right? They see the finished product, the polished product. And I love the realness of your story. Thank you for that. So, you have built one of the fastest growing organizations in EXP. You have built it on the ground floor, kind of a grassroots building of that, as we all have to do, right? Nobody's special. Nobody gets handed a powerful leg or any of that. It's like we all have the same thing to overcome and build. And most of it is internal in my experience. Most of it is the things that we have to work through ourselves to get to where we feel comfortable sharing our story, comfortable with our value proposition, comfortable with overcoming the objections. So what is, number one, where's your organization now, if you don't mind sharing so people know, like agent count, FLA, FLQA?
You got it. FLA is 54. FLQA right now is 27, and total group size 2,200, a little bit over.
Congratulations, man. That's a huge
Thanks, brother.
deal.
Thank you.
You hit the ground with a 350 Chevy full of gas, and you just went. You're building a rocket ship. So one question we had from Lord Justice: what do you believe is required to be successful in agent attraction in this market? Because there is a shift in the market. I think it's added advantages and some disadvantages, but what do you see as, how do you answer that question, Shon?
Well, I would say it takes a powerful and a really strong foundation. Okay, now most agents, when they jump into attraction, they don't focus on foundation at all. They just focus on, well, let me talk to this agent, let me talk to that agent. They build their list. They really don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. And ultimately what they do is they don't say anything to anybody, okay? Or if they do say something, it's not powerful. And that's part of the reason why EXP has this, this reputation of just being recruiters, right? Is because it's not being done maybe correctly. Now, what I would encourage each and every one of you to do is really focus on strengthening, deepening, widening, and increasing the amount of rebar inside your foundation. Now, there's 4 things that impact the strength of your foundation. Number 1, it's your knowledge. You got to know what to do. You got to know what to say. Number 2, it's your skills. You got to know how to do it. You got to know how to say it. When we focus on the first 2 categories, that has an incredible and profound impact on your competence, leads to a higher level of confidence, and it impacts the 3rd category of your foundation, which is mindset. Mindset. So when you know what to say, you know how to say it, then you have the confidence and the mindset to say it to enough people. And those are the 3 things you can actually control in attraction, right? There's so many things outside of your control. You can't control the fact that this person signed a contract with Compass and it doesn't expire for 2 years, or they have to give all that money back, right? You can't control what the managing broker is going to do when they say, hey, I'm thinking about shifting over to EXP. And they say, well, I'll change your split to 95.5 if you stay. Can't necessarily control all of those things. The 3 things you can control: what you say, how you say it, and how many people you say it to. So, how many of you guys want more attraction opportunities? Come on, more attraction appointments, yes? I'm going to make this really simple for you. All you need to do is create more conversations. That's it. Even a recruiter without a ton of skill, if they talk to enough people, eventually they're going to find somebody who says, yes, I love the model. I'll join you. Okay. Now, the 4th category of our foundation is our habits. Now, F.M. Alexander said this: people do not decide their future, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. Now, where do most people form habits, though? Is it consciously or subconsciously? What do you think, Randy?
I think they form them subconsciously.
Undoubtedly. Yeah. Like, for example, let's say anything happens. Well, then we have an immediate reaction, right?
Right.
And that reaction, it gets a result. Now, by the time we're 20 years old, our mind has had so many exposures, we're on autopilot. So the next time that something happens, we have the same reaction, don't we? In fact, we've brought that reaction to the point of what I call automaticity. In other words, it's a habit. Mm-hmm. And sadly, we get the same result. Yet if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got. How many of you believe this? That in order to get to better, we must get to different. Anyone believe that? So it's the practice, you guys. It's knowing what to say, how to say it. Now, there's been a ton of research around habit formation. In fact, I had the pleasure of collaborating with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan in the writing of the book, The One Thing. And then I went on to create all the training materials behind the success of that #1 New York Times bestseller. This is the door opener so that I can consult for companies like McDonald's and Panasonic, FedEx, Sport Clips, T-Mobile, Genentech, Pepsi, GMC, just to name a few of those companies, and about 5,000 others you've never heard of. So I've learned a thing or two about business development through this journey, right? I've learned a lot about organizational structure, how to lead people, how to motivate people, how to get them to take the actions required necessary for them to achieve the life that they want to live. And so there's 4 categories. Oh, by the way, I want to finish that thought. See, Megan Oten out of the University College of London in Australia has done a ton of research around habit formation for all of us, as has Charles Duhigg, the author of The Power of Habit. Now, their research suggests that on average, it takes 66 days to form a habit. Just 66 days. That's it. So I've got this habit tracker. I'm going to post it to the chat for you guys, because I'll tell you what, this is, I think, where the rubber meets the road. When you focus on what you can control, then you're going to find massive traction. No doubt about that. So bear with me 1 second. I'm just pulling it up right now. I'm going to post this to the chat.
Club member too, Sean. Mark Verzel up in Canada said he wants to be your new best friend. He might even move to wherever you are.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're building a real estate sales team here in Austin. We're having a lot of fun doing that. So if you're looking to join a really powerful team, come on over. We're generating like 700 leads a month, and it's keeping my boys really, really busy. It's awesome. All right. So
he's a beast up in Canada. Actually sells probably 1,500 new construction pre-con a year.
Yeah, I'm sure he would want to join my team then. Good stuff, man. Well, yes, please reach out to me, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, challenges, anything I can do to help. Seriously, if you got somebody who's on the fence, especially a Keller Williams agent, and you're having a hard time getting them over to EXP, I'm happy to do a 3-way call with you guys. No doubt about that. I'm here to support you, support this company. Just please recognize you and your success. That is my why. No joke. And yet, obviously you got a great coach in Randy, and I trust many of you are coaching one-on-one with Randy, and you're very lucky to be able to do that. So Randy, if you can give me permission to share my screen, I'd love to
absolutely
be able to do that.
Thank you, brother. You're good.
All right. And again, I'm going to post this to the chat. Let me walk you through it though. So very simply, you just identify consciously what kind of habit you want to own. Now, as I think about this, I'm going to digress. I'll tell a quick story. It's my favorite story, by the way, because it was the greatest epiphany that I have ever had in my life. Okay. Now, little backstory. My wife and I met in the 7th grade. Seriously, we were 12 years old. We started dating when we were 16 years old. We're married at 21, had our first child at 28, and now 3 beautiful kids, 30 years of marriage under our belt. And absolutely just as much in love today as we were back when we were teenagers. Now, at this time in our life, we're 17 years old. We're going to go see a movie. It's a Friday night. And we invited her older sister. She's 4 years older, and her sister's new boyfriend. Never met this guy before. And yet I agreed I would drive. So I pull up to the house to pick them up. And this dude comes out of the house, guys. And I got to tell you, this guy is built, man. I'm telling you, he's got like muscles on muscles, biceps the size of my thighs. I mean, body fat of maybe like 10%, just totally shredded. He's a professional bodybuilder. Now I'm 17 years old. I want to look like this guy. So I got to know him a little bit. His name's Paul. I said, "Hey, Paul, how often do you go to the gym?" And he said, "Well, every day." I said, "Even Sundays?" He said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Paul, how long is your workout?" He says, "Well, at least 2 hours." I said, 2 hours every day? I said, "Paul, how do you do that? I mean, I'm 17 years old, having a hard time getting there 2-3 times a week, let alone every day for 2 hours. How do you do it?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "Shon, it's just something I do." Like, it's no big deal. This is who Paul is. This is what Paul does. Therefore, Paul gets to look the way Paul looks. You guys with me on this, right? He's brought that activity of going to the gym to the point of automaticity. It's part of his self-image. It's an expectation that he holds of himself because it's a habit. Now, for you, each and every one of you, the habit that I would encourage you to put on the blank of this form that you're about to download and print off and put up on your wall is 5 conversations a day. That's it. That's it. Say, "Oh, Shon, well, I don't know who I would call." Come on. If somebody said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to come to your home tonight and hurt you and your family really bad unless you can create 5 conversations with agents," I guarantee you could make it happen. Mm-hmm. Because when the why is powerful enough, the how, it simply shows up. Yes. So every day that you do that, 5 conversations a day, guys. Now I want to talk a little bit about Pareto's principle. So it's the 80-20 rule, right? Pareto is an Italian economist. He's studying the economics of Italy, and he looks at the wealth. He looks at the money. 80% of the wealth was controlled by just 20% of the population. Then he looked at real estate. 80% of the land controlled by just 20% of the population. And the 80-20 rule, to me, guys, it's as true as the law of gravity.
True.
I mean, we don't question gravity, do we? So 80-20 rule, 5 conversations a day, 20% of 5, well, that's 1. Okay. So one person every day is going to say, yep, Randy, I'd like to investigate EXP. You do that 5 days a week. That's 5 people a week who say, yes, I'd like to have that attraction call with you. Again, Pareto's principle applies. Out of 5 presentations about EXP, at least one of them is going to shift their license over to EXP. So guys, this, like everything else, it's a numbers game. It's a contact sport. You've got to get in there and make things happen. It's not just going to fall into your lap. I mean, anybody who's reached the pinnacle of a mountain, it's not like somebody just picked them up and set them there. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Also, at the same time, we have to recognize that there hasn't been a single person who's achieved that extraordinary result that turned around, looked down the mountain and said, man, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, right, Randy? See, many of us, we have uphill dreams, yet we have downhill habits. So bringing conscious awareness to the habits required for you to achieve the success that you and your family deserve, I think is critically important. Then it's about applying discipline to habit formation. Now, in Megan Oten's research, I want you to imagine an L-shaped graph, right? The vertical line represents the amount of discipline required to sustain an activity. The horizontal line at the bottom represents the number of days and time, okay? So you can imagine that when you start into something new, something a little bit different like agent attraction, 5 conversations a day, the amount of discipline required is about as high as it's going to get on that graph. And Megan referenced that as 95% discipline, 5% habit. Now you can imagine how this thing kind of bows down as it goes from left to right. Yes, how it bows down, the amount of discipline required starts to decrease. And what she was looking for was that moment of automaticity. And the average was 66 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 66 days of discipline, Monday through Friday. You don't have to do it on the weekends. You have 5 conversations every day. And every day that you do that, you put an X over one of the boxes on this habit tracker. I mean, this is such a simple methodology. By the way, I've got some affirmations down at the bottom that will help kind of change the neural pathways to help support, what it is that you'd like to accomplish. Yet every day you do it, guys, you just put an X over the box. That's it. You put it up on your wall. You tell everybody about what you're doing. That's going to increase your accountability, undoubtedly, because we all have the inherent need to look good and be right. Yes. So when you tell somebody, hey, I want you to hold me accountable to this 5 conversations a day, and every day I do that, I'm going to put an X over the box. Okay. Now, checking out the boxes came from a guy that you might have heard of before. His name is Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld. Here's what he said to himself. He said, I'm going to write 1 joke every day. I'm going to practice it, rehearse it, get the inflection patterns right, the pauses correct. I'm going to commit it to memory. And every day that he did that, he had a simple annual calendar up on his refrigerator. It was month by month. And every day he did that, he had a red Sharpie and he would go put an X over that box, meaning I did what I was supposed to do today. Now you think about the compounding effects of that one simple thing. After 30 days, he's got a full stand-up routine. After 5 years, you end up with the Seinfeld show. And now today, anybody on the face of this planet who has access to the internet, guys, knows who Jerry Seinfeld is. Mm-hmm. I don't care what country they're in. They know of Jerry Seinfeld. It's so powerful. It's just, see, we don't have to be disciplined in all things. It's just one thing. And for you guys, that's 5 conversations a day. And then also improving your knowledge, what you say, your skills, how you say it, of course. That'll impact your mindset. And of course, focusing on the habits. Now, Megan's research, again, the average was 66 days. On the low end, it was just 18 days to sustain the activity. On the outside, it was 254 days to sustain the activity. And the average was 66 days. So it might take you less time. It might take you more time. Yet, again, the average is 66 days.
Love it.
So right on. How we doing?
I love this, man. This is tactical. That's what I like about this. You're given simple things, but they're tactical. 5 conversations a day is mathematical. I love mathematical, right? When you can show that you're doing an action and then you can start putting metrics to it and say, if you do this, you're going to get this percentage. I totally agree with the numbers, by the way. Everything I teach, I think we are cut from the same cloth, Shon, and that's a compliment to you, because I really track with your style, the way you teach, the way you coach. And, I'm saying the same exact things. These numbers don't lie. I love that part. Thank you for supplying that particular sheet for people to use and download. This has been amazing. I think we can go all day very easily. And any quick questions for Shon before we kind of wrap up this segment? I know we had a couple things in there, but any quick questions for Shon that comes up for you? So Shon, I'm going to ask you one. We've got some rock stars on here that are not living up to their potential in their agent attraction space, period, end of story, right? So how can they overcome that? I know you talked about the foundation. I love that, the 3 steps to build rebar into that foundation. Is it activity before knowledge? Is it, I hear a lot of people that are in this, locked up pattern because they're waiting to learn every script and they're waiting to make sure everything's perfect. They're waiting until the moon is full. What is it for you that you would coach them on to get into action now?
Well, a simple question. How many of you guys, show of hands, just real quick, know everything about electricity, how it's made, how it goes through the transformers, how it's boosted, how it's decreased, how it gets into your home? How many of you guys know everything about electricity? I certainly don't, yet I'm not afraid to turn on the light switch, yes? So all you have to do is turn on the light switch, because you've got people in your organization, your partners, that are there to support and help you. Hey, Randy, if any one of these people contacted you and said, hey, listen, I want you to do a 3-way call with somebody. I really don't know that much about the model, and I want them to have the most up-to-date, best information about the model. Can you do it for me? What would you say?
I'd say absolutely. I do it 7 hours a day, every day.
I love it. So, and by the way, if Randy's unavailable, I'm sure you'll find somebody else who could jump in and make that happen. No doubt about that. So Randy, I'm sure you've shared with them your scheduling link so they can just go in and identify a time that works for their candidate, get on the phone with you. I mean, it's practicing what to say, it's how to say it. See, when you have confidence in what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, and while the result might not always be positive, that's okay. I mean, it's a numbers game, right? It's the prospector that moves the most dirt that finds the veins of gold.
I love that.
So the daily accountability form, I did post this to the chat as well. I want you to download that, you guys. Seriously, print off one every single day. Now, here's how this works. You outline the type of prospect. Is it a past cross sale? Is it a cold call? Is it somebody you met at broker tour? What type of candidate are they? Where did you find out about them? In other words, right? What was their name? Did you ask for an appointment? Did you receive an appointment? Just check the boxes if you did. Did you ask for a referral? Somebody says, Shon, I'm never leaving my current brokerage. Well, who do you know who might be open-minded? It's just a quick reminder to ask the question about the referral, right? And then any follow-up notes. Now, I want you to print off one of these for every single day. I want you to 3-hole punch it, put it into your prospecting binder. Now, I'm going 1990s on you. I totally get it. Yet this is a paper form. It's an archaic paper system that will help you maintain accountability around this. Then I want you to go in and highlight, yellow would be those who need nurturing. Green are those that said yes. Whatever other colors you might want to use that will help you kind of visually track this. Then you open up your manual, or your binder rather, and you just kind of flip through, and it'll keep you organized. It'll help you. It's a paper system. It'll tell you what, it's highly effective. Now, you see the boxes up at the top of the form here, 5 contacts per day. See, every conversation that you create has some monetary value. Even if they say, listen, I hate EXP, I would never go there, it has some monetary value. I want you to look at it like this. If you have to talk to 100 people in order to get one person to join your organization, I'm going to do some quick math here. If you had to talk to 100, and I'm going to take Brent Gove as a good example. He's making about $1,250,000 per month right now, okay? I believe he's got 46 in his front line, times 12. Every single person in his organization represents, in his front line of his organization, okay, represents $326,000 per year to him. You understand that? So let's say you had to talk to 100 people in order to get one person to say, yes, I'm open-minded. And that person goes on to help you create $326,000 per year. Let's divide that by 100. Should be able to do this in my head. Every conversation, every one of those 100 conversations that you created to get that one person to say yes was worth $3,260. I don't know about you, yet if somebody tells me I'm a total jerk and to F off and whatever, I can take that for $3,260. What do you think?
Absolutely.
So when you make your conversations happen, I want you to cross these boxes off at the top of the document, meaning that first conversation, the money that comes from that, again, even if they totally reject you, it still has some monetary value. Just cross off that first box, tithing. Maybe you give to your church, maybe you give to charity, maybe you just want to put savings in there instead. That's okay too. The next conversation that you create, that's going to go toward the IRS. The next is your living expenses. The next is your business expenses. And what you're trending toward with this fifth conversation every day is that fun money. The money that you're going to use to take your friends, your family out to dinner, or take that vacation, which by the way, I leave tomorrow night for a 10-day cruise with my family. And I can't wait just to unplug and sharpen the saw a little bit. Yet every conversation you guys has some monetary value. Then I would also encourage you to focus attraction efforts through social media, just organically, okay? Where you're going to do one share of somebody's post that's a realtor every day. Well, aren't I helping my competition? Well, do it with somebody who's not local to your market area. That's okay. Yeah. How do you feel when somebody shares your post? How does it make you feel? Come on, guys. It makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Makes you feel
Yeah,
good.
it gives you validity in what you
Dopamine.
posted. Somebody else liked it so much they put it on their feed. Really, all of a sudden, the respect that you have for that individual raises almost automatically. Then I want you to do at least 2 friend or follow requests every day, 10 comments on other people's posts. Now, this is where the organic traction is going to occur. See, so many times we wake up in the morning and say, oh, gee, what am I going to post today? What am I going to post today? What's going to make me stand out? What's going to give me the attention? Well, it's not about that. It's about offering validity to other people's lives and their posts. See, when you comment on somebody else's posts, they almost automatically respect you. By the way, if you follow it with a question, like let's say they got a new dog. Oh, what's the breed? What'd you name it? Or where'd you get it? Something like that. Then it's going to create a conversation. Yes. And that's what we want to do. Then 6 direct messages every day through social channels. Okay. So for me, it's easy. I open up Facebook and 34 friends have birthdays today. I'll pick out those that I want to get deeper in a relationship with, or that I want to just add value to. And I'll send them a quick video DM, or I'll just drop them a quick DM text, or whatever the case is. So 6 direct messages and then 1 post every day. Now, don't be that realtor who just posts about EXP, please. I think our candidates get really fed up with seeing posts about EXP all the time, and or even houses all the time. Just be authentically you, seriously. Post about your life. If you had a great lunch at this restaurant, well, post about it, right? In fact, ask the proprietor of the restaurant if they would do a video with you so you can promote their business on social channels. It's going to bring in a lot of referral business, I'll bet. No doubt about that. So, I did post this to the chat as well. And Randy, I know you've got an agenda, so I'll stop talking.
No, but dude, you crushed it today. I really appreciate you. I love the tactical. It's easy to come in, and Branko, he's one of my best friends, and he is the most motivating, inspiration, perspiration guy I've ever met. And I think today you gave them some tactical things to take away from this, and the others that are in our group that follow this. Thank you for that. I love the sheet. Thank you for supplying those so people can follow that. And I'm really, really impressed that it tracks very, very similarly to what I've been teaching and coaching, and really helping agents with the agent attraction component of this. It's a lot simpler than we make it be, but we make it very difficult because of the discipline that it takes to do it, right? Just like you talked about, 66 days, the building the scar tissue up from doing this. So Shon, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Anything likewise that we can do for you, I'm happy to help you any way we can. And we thank you for being part of the EXP family.
You came on my podcast yesterday, brother, and you crushed it, dude. You crushed it. So thank you for that. Let's do this like every 6 months or so.
I'd love to, man. Let's do it. You got my buy-in on that. Enjoy your
thinking
cruise.
Every week, maybe.
I love it, Mark. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. You've given me fulfillment today. Seriously, this is where my why exists, just to add value to others. And I appreciate the opportunity, guys. Sincerely. And Randy, thanks for setting it up. Really appreciate it. Just
you bet, brother.
Here's my last thought. People. Okay, just one last thought.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to leave you with a riddle. It's my favorite riddle. I think we did this yesterday, didn't we, Randy?
I love this.
What can you sit on, sleep on, and brush your teeth with? My favorite riddle. What can you sit on, sleep on, and brush your teeth with? Well, here's the answer, gang. It's a chair, a bed, and a toothbrush. Okay. See, so many times we want to overcomplicate things, right? It's because of our neuro associations to that word riddle. Oh, it's a riddle. It must be complicated. Guys, a lot of people have the same neuro associations to recruiting and rev share building. Oh, it's rev share building. It must be complicated. Guys, it's not. It's all based in the number of conversations you can create. Then it's really about 3 words. It's edify, edify, edify. Let the people, your partners above you in the organization, let them help you with the heavy lifting, because that's where the biggest money is going to be made. All right. I'm going to let
I
you
love that, man. I thought of some crazy stuff for that riddle, just like you probably expected. I was thinking some crazy stuff, but it's simple. Let's keep it that way. I appreciate that. A lot of thank yous, a lot of appreciation, Shon. Thank you so much. I know you got a busy agenda as well, so thank you for being here. We're going to get into our live dials and get into the meat and potatoes. And
all right, crush it, you guys.
All right, man.
Make it happen today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Go get them. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
See ya. Back at you.
Bye-bye now. See you.